Genius or prodigy, self-type, or world type. These aren't just buzzwords in Blue Lock. They're the foundation of the entire series, shaping the characters, the matches, and even the story's core philosophy. But here's the kicker. The line between genius and prodigy isn't as clear as you might think. Why does ego talk about talent like it's a weapon? How does the genius-prodigy dynamic create rivalries that drive characters to evolve? And most importantly, where do players like Isagi, Baru, and Nagi fit into all of this? Well, we have to look at what is talent in Blue Lock. Is it something you're born with, something you grind every day to perfect? Ego himself gives us the answer, and it's surprisingly simple. Talent isn't just skill, it's the ability to demonstrate your abilities when it matters most. This means two things. First, being naturally gifted doesn't mean squat if you can't show up when the pressure's on. And second, grinding every day to develop a skill doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to use it effectively. That's why Blue Lock isn't just a training ground, it's a crucible. Take Isagi, for example. He started as one of the weakest players, but he's risen to challenge the best because he knows how to adapt, analyze, and evolve. Ego's system doesn't reward just talent, it rewards those who know how to use it to crush their opponents. We often hear the terms genius and prodigy tossed around in sports, but Blue Lock gives them an entirely new depth. Geniuses aren't just talented, they're disruptors. They break the mold, forcing the game itself to adapt to their style. Think about Nagi. His traps are so elegant and effortless that he doesn't just control the ball, he controls the rhythm of the game. He creates moments that seem impossible, and you can't help but ask yourself, how did he do that? Then there's Baru, the king, whose playstyle screams dominance. He's not reacting to the game, he's dictating it. Geniuses are unique in that their brilliance feels instinctive, almost like they're rewriting the rules in real time. Let's flip the script and talk about prodigies. If geniuses are the artists, prodigies are the engineers. They take what a genius creates and find a way to make it functional, repeatable, and sometimes even better. Isagi is the quintessential prodigy. He doesn't just watch a genius like Nagi dominate the field, he breaks down the logic behind it, identifies the formula, and incorporates it into his own playstyle. He's like a scientist, constantly experimenting and evolving based on what he observes. The difference here is crucial. While geniuses rely on intuition and originality, prodigies thrive on adaptability and analysis. Where a genius might create a once-in-a-lifetime move, a prodigy will find a way to replicate it and make it their own. And this dynamic isn't just for show, it's the backbone of Blue Lock's narrative. Every match, every rivalry is shaped by this push and pull between creation and adaptation. But here's where it gets really interesting. Prodigies and geniuses aren't mutually exclusive. Players like Rin Itoshi blur the lines. Rin has the genius-level instinct to create singularity points, moments that defy logic, and the prodigy-like ability to adapt and learn from others. That duality makes him one of the most dangerous players on the field. And the best part? This dynamic sets up some of the most compelling conflicts in the series. Isagi, as a prodigy, is constantly chasing the brilliance of geniuses like Rin and Baru, but his adaptability forces them to evolve too. It's a cycle of growth that keeps the story fresh and the matches unpredictable. Now let's build on that with the concept of ego types, because this is where Blue Lock really turns into a chess match. Ego types aren't just personality traits, they're the foundation of how each player approaches the game. It's like a blueprint for their decision-making, strengths, and even weaknesses. There are two main ego types, self-types and world types. Self-types are all about personal expression. They play for themselves, prioritizing their own desires and vision over everything else. Baru is the textbook example. His obsession with being the king isn't just a mindset, it's a strategy. Every move he makes on the field reinforces his dominance. Even when he's not scoring, he's creating an environment where everyone has to adjust to him. Another great self-type is Nagi. His creativity is off the charts. He doesn't just play the game, he redefines it with every touch. But here's the catch. Self-types can sometimes become too focused on their own vision, which makes them vulnerable to players who can exploit that singular focus. On the flip side, we have world types. These players excel by analyzing their surroundings and adapting to the game as it unfolds. Isagi is the ultimate world type. He's constantly scanning the field, piecing together the puzzle, and finding ways to outmaneuver even the most brilliant players. World types thrive on logic and strategy, which makes them incredibly versatile. Kaiser, with his calculated precision and ability to dominate the field through sheer efficiency, is another prime example. But here's where it gets even more layered. On top of being a self-type or world type, players can also fall into freedom or restriction categories. Freedom types are like wild cards, they thrive in chaotic environments. Think of players like Chigiri, whose blistering speed allows him to turn any situation into an opportunity. Restriction types, on the other hand, excel in structured systems. They find ways to break out of those constraints and create something extraordinary. Charles is a great example. He gathers data on the field and uses it to make the most unpredictable passes imaginable. The beauty of the system is how it creates unique interactions. Take a world-type prodigy like Isagi going up against a self-type genius like Baru. Isagi's adaptability clashes with Baru's sheer dominance, forcing both players to evolve. Or think about how Nagi, a freedom self-type, thrives in a chaotic match but struggles when he's boxed into a rigid system. And here's the kicker: ego types aren't set in stone, players can evolve. Isagi, for instance, started as a pure world type but began incorporating elements of self-typing as he developed his ego. Similarly, Baru started as a self-type with a narrow focus but learned to adapt when forced into a team dynamic. This evolution keeps the series dynamic and the characters unpredictable. Burrow's genius lies in his ability to create singularity plays that are almost impossible to predict. Isagi, as a prodigy, breaks that down, studies it, and finds a way to counter it. But that clash creates tension. Baru gets frustrated by Isagi's logic, and Isagi struggles to keep up with Baru's instinct-driven playstyle. But here's the thing, this friction is what pushes them both to evolve. Isagi developed metavision by observing Kaiser, another prodigy, while Nagi reignited his creative spark by learning from Rin and Baru. These rivalries aren't just about winning matches, they're about personal growth. Let's shift gears to one of Blue Lock's most fascinating case studies, Yukimiya Kinyu. Now, on the surface, Yukimiya doesn't always get the spotlight, but his journey gives us a unique lens to understand how talent, originality, and identity intertwine in the world of Blue Lock. First, let's talk about Yukimiya's seed. Every player in Blue Lock has this metaphorical seed, a combination of their innate potential and the life experiences that shape their mindset. For Yukimiya, that seed is rooted in an obsession with speed and individuality. He's not just fast, his playstyle is laser-focused on one-on-one duels. It's a pure expression of his desire to control his own destiny, to break through obstacles by sheer force of will. But here's where it gets complicated. Yukimiya's story takes a sharp turn when he discovers his vision-threatening illness. Suddenly, time isn't just a factor, it's his enemy. He's racing against the clock, not just in matches, but in his career as a whole. This pressure transforms his mindset, making him impatient and hyper-focused on immediate results. He develops a play style that mirrors this urgency, powerful, aggressive, and direct. Every dribble, every shot screams, "I need to make this count." Let's break down his skill set. Yukimiya's dribbling style is unique because it combines raw power with precise speed. He doesn't just try to evade defenders, he forces his way past them. It's almost confrontational. Then there's his shooting technique. His signature sword screw shot tricks the goalkeepers into committing to one side before the ball spins in another direction. It's flashy, risky, and like his overall game, designed to end things quickly. But here's the thing. This hyper-aggressive style has its limits. In the Manshine City match, we see Yukimiya hit a wall. His impatience and single-mindedness clash with Isagi's calculated approach. It's like watching a sprinter trying to win a marathon. Yukimiya's raw talent is undeniable, but his lack of adaptability exposes a key weakness. And this is where his evolution begins. After clashing with Isagi, Yukimiya starts to question his approach. He realizes that his obsession with speed and individuality, while powerful, has also been holding him back. It's a moment of awakening. Instead of rushing toward his goals, he decides to give his ego the time it needs to grow. This shift in mindset changes everything. Yukimiya isn't just trying to win matches anymore, he's trying to redefine himself as a player. This transformation is monumental because it highlights one of Blue Lock's core themes. Originality isn't static. A player's identity isn't set in stone. It's shaped by their experiences, their struggles, and their willingness to evolve. Yukimiya's decision to embrace patience doesn't just change his game, it changes his trajectory. What makes Yukimiya's journey so compelling is that it reflects a universal truth about talent. It's not just about what you're born with, it's about how you cultivate it. Here's why Kenishiro's writing is genius. The talent system isn't just a mechanic for the matches, it's a lens through which we understand the characters. In most shonen, power systems are tools for conflict. In Blue Lock, the power system is the story. Talent, ego types, and originality are directly tied to the character's ambitions, struggles, and growth. They're not just tools for understanding the matches, they're tools for understanding the players themselves. This is what makes Blue Lock so unique. It's not just a sports manga, it's a deep dive into what it means to strive for greatness, to face your limits, and to redefine what's possible. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about the genius and prodigy dynamic, the evolution of talent, and how it all ties into the characters we've come to love in Blue Lock. Before I end this video, I would like to shout out the Reddit user ZealosIdealMess6678 for the basis for this explanation. Don't forget to comment. I'd love to hear your take on the Prodigy Genius duality or anything else that stood out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives and discussions on all things Blue Lock. I'm Hoops and Anime, and that's about it. See ya.